The lives of empires. If we desire to ascertain the laws which govern the rise and fall of empires, the obvious course is to investigate the imperial experiments recorded in history and to endeavor to deduce from them any lessons which seem to be applicable to them all. The word empire, by association with the British Empire, is visualized by some people as an organization consisting of a home country in Europe and colonies in other continents. In this essay, the term empire is used to signify a great power, often called today a superpower. Most of the empires in history have been large land blocks, almost without overseas possessions. We possess a considerable amount of information on many empires recorded in history and of their vicissitudes and the lengths of their lives. For example, Assyria lasted from 859 to 612 BC, or 247 years. Persia, 538 to 330 BC, 208 years. Greece, 331 to 100 BC, 231 years. The Roman Republic, 260 to 27 BC, 233 years. Roman Empire, 27 BC to AD, 180 or 207 years. The Arab Empire, 634 to 880 AD, or 246 years. The Mamluk Empire, 1250 to 1517 AD, or 267 years. The Ottoman Empire, 1320 to 570, 250 years. Spanish Empire, 1500 to 1750, 250 years. Romanov Russia, 1682 to 1916, or 234 years, and Great Britain, 1700 to 1950, or 250 years. This list calls for certain comments. 1. The present writer is exploring the facts, not trying to prove anything. The dates given are largely arbitrary. Empires do not usually begin or end on a certain date. There is normally a gradual period of expansion and then a period of decline. The resemblance in the duration of these great powers may be queried. Human affairs are subject to many chances, and it is not to be expected that they could be calculated with mathematical accuracy. 2. Nevertheless, it is suggested that there is a sufficient resemblance between the life periods of these different empires to justify further study. 3. The division of Rome into two periods may be thought unwarranted. The first, or Republican, period dates from the time when Rome became the mistress of Italy and ends with the accession of Augustus. The imperial period extends from the accession of Augustus to the death of Marcus Aurelius. It is true that the empire survived nominally for more than a century after this date, but it did so in constant confusion, rebellions, civil wars, and barbarian invasions. Not all empires endured their full lifespan. The Babylonian Empire of Nebuchadnezzar, for example, was overthrown by Cyrus, and after a life duration of only some 74 years. An interesting deduction from these figures seems to be that the duration of empires does not depend on the speed of travel or the nature of weapons. The Assyrians marched on foot and fought with spears and bow and arrows. The British used artillery, railways, and ocean-going ships, yet the two empires lasted for approximately the same period. There is a tendency nowadays to say that this is the Jet Age, and consequently there is nothing for us to learn from past empires. Such an attitude seems to be erroneous. 6. It is tempting to compare the lives of empires to those of human beings. We may choose a figure and say that the average life of a human being is 70 years. Not all human beings live exactly for 70 years. Some die in infancy, others are killed in accidents in middle life, some survive to the age of 80 or 90. Nevertheless, in spite of such exceptions, we are justified in saying that 70 years is a fair estimate of the average person's expectation of life. 7. We may perhaps at this age be allowed to draw certain conclusions. A. In spite of the accidents of fortune and the apparent circumstances of the human race at different epochs, the periods of duration of different empires at varied epochs show a remarkable similarity. B. Immense changes in the technology of transport or in methods of warfare do not seem to affect the life expectation of an empire. 6. The changes in the technology of transport and war have, however, affected the shape of empires. The Assyrians, marching on foot, could only conquer their neighbors, who were accessible by land, the Medes, the Babylonians, the Persians, and Egyptians. The British, making use of ocean-going ships, conquered many countries and subcontinents which were accessible to them by water: North America, India, South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand, but they never succeeded in conquering their neighbors, France, Germany, and Spain. But, although the shapes of the Assyrian and British empires were entirely different, both lasted about the same length of time.